Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya as-salah, hayya as-salah, hayya al-falah, hayya al-falah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, bear witness that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is the Savior and the Messenger. Bear witness that Allah is the creator for all that we see, all that we know, all that we desire, all that we envision. Bear witness that Allah is the one that provides mercy to all humanity. Bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is last and seal of the Prophet. And bear witness that Allah has blessed us to be human beings, and He calls upon us to respond to the goodness that He put within us. Pray that Allah allows us to grow as human beings, as creatures, and be willing to surrender themselves to His worship and to His consciousness. Bear witness that Allah is our Razak. He's the provider. He's the Al-Ghafur. He's the forgiver. Bear witness that Allah is our Hakim. He is the wise. I'd like to share with us a few ayats from the Quran, from different verses from the Quran. The first one is really Al-Hajj. We just came from the month of Al-Hajj. And it's really ayats 18 to 14. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to read it backwards from 18 to 14. And strive in His cause as you ought to strive, with sincerity, under discipline. He has chosen you and has imposed no difficulties on you in religion. It is the religion of your father, Abraham. It is He who has named you Muslim, both before and in this revelation. And the messenger may be witness to you, and you be a witness for mankind. So establish regular prayer, give zakat, and hold fast to Allah. He is your protector, the best to protect and the best to help. Allah speaks the truth. This is one of the last ayahs that was revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm going to repeat. And strive, he's just talking to us all. And strive in His cause, as you ought to strive, with sincerity and under discipline. He has chosen you and has imposed no difficulties on you in religion. It is the religion of your father Abraham. It is He who has named you Muslim, both before and in this revelation, that the messenger may be a witness for you and you be a witness for the mankind. So establish regular prayer, give zakat, and hold fast to Allah. He is your protector, the best to protect and the best to help. O ye who believe, bow down, prostrate yourself, and adore your Lord, and do good that you may prosper. He knows what is before them and what is behind them, and to each go back all affairs for decisions. Allah chooses messengers from angels and from men, for Allah is He who hears and sees all things. They do not have a right, they do not have a right estimate of Allah, for Allah is powerful and mighty. Many of us do not have the right estimate, the right perception of Allah. And Allah tells us also in this ayah, He says to establish regular prayer, to stand up and follow the religion of Abraham. Abraham is known to be the Hanif, the upright one. So He wants us to stand up to be upright. Allah reminds us in here also that He's imposed no difficulties on us, and that He named us Muslim. He didn't put no S in front of it. He didn't put no adjective or no adverb in front of it. He said Muslim. He didn't say Salafiyah, Sufi, Sunni, Shiite. He didn't do none of that. What he wants us to do, anything else, is to surrender and to submit. These are the things Allah wants us to do. But we created our own ideas, our own concepts. So I'm going to go a little bit further in this ayat mu'min. This Surah Mu'min. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Successful indeed are the believers, those who humble themselves in their prayers, who avoid vain talk, who are active in giving zakat, who guard their modesty, except with those to them joined in marriage bond or captives, who their right hands possess. For in their case, they are free from blame. But those who desires exceed those limits are transgressors. Those who are faithfully observant to their trust and their covenants, and who strictly guard their prayers. These are the heirs, the people that who will inherit paradise. They will dwell therein forever. Man, we did create from you a quintus of clay. Then we placed in him a sperm in a place of rest, firmly fixed. And what Allah says, He says, then we made that sperm into the clock of congealed blood. Then out of that clock we made a fetus lump. Then without that lump, bones, and clothed those bones with flesh. Then we develop out of that another creature. So blessed be Allah, the best to create. So out of this formation, Allah created us. Another creature, what? The next thing is what? He blew something of His Spirit into us, right? And after that, at length, you will die. And again, on the day of judgment, we will be raised. So there's a process that we go through. Again, on the day of judgment, we will be raised. And we have made above you 7 tracks, and we are never unmindful of our creation. And we have sent down water from the sky according to due measure. And we cause this to soak in the soil. And we certainly are able to drain it off at ease. And He talks about also He made cattle, for some to clothe us, some to drive, some to take the stress off of us, some to take the burden from us. But Allah saying, remind us in this Quran, if you hear about the stages that He talks about He made the sperm, and that is one stage of a congealed blood. Okay, then out of that clot, He made a fetus lump. He made out of that lump bones and clothes those bones with flesh, and develop out of that another creator. So blessed be Allah, the best to create. So He's showing us the different stages in development. And I think the last time I talked about here, I talked about how we learn, how we take in things. We learn by hearing, we learn by experience, and we learn by seeing. And some of the things that I would like to share, some of the signs that I see, because Allah says, that my signs used to be rehearsed to you, but you used to turn back on your heels in arrogance, talking nonsense about the Quran, like one telling fables by night. Do they not ponder over the word of Allah, or has anything new come to them that they did not come to the fathers of old? We've seen, Allah in His creation. Even in the Quran, Allah says that He will, the earth will suck you in. And for a long time, I did not really envision that, could not understand it until I saw it on TV. A house being sucked in the ground, like they call it sinkholes, But Allah said these things will happen. We just saw what I call the rain of Noah, Allah saw come out in the Quran, it rained for days and days, then He dried it up. We just saw that happening down in Texas or in that area. The water, and how it happened. But we get so demystified when they come with the science to it. We still forget that Allah's creator of that science. They just revealing His hand, His power, and within His creation. We see these things, and we see the flooding, but Allah shows there's a level of punishment. Yes, there's the level of moving people away from materialism because they have an appreciation of their human soul or human self, and yet we also see the development of human kindness, human goodness come about, and you see even in some of our racist or callous hard heart, we can see that being manifested in the islands, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, and Puerto Rico, but you see that Allah is forcing the human hand, human justice to prevail, a sense to be just. Allah said He's a just God, and He brings about justice. He sends these signs for us to see. We've seen the wind, coming. You know, with the tornadoes. We're hearing now about hurricanes. We're hearing about what is this explosion, volcanoes. You know, we see these things, you know, but we take it for granted. We miss the story that Allah has. And I do want to share with y'all with this is that we believe, you know, there's two components of Juma. You know, that is praising and worshiping Allah, loving Allah, and then something to address to the community. I want to address to the community in loving and sharing with Allah is that there's tools that He provides for us in order to help us deal with ourselves and the challenges that we are challenged with. You know, the Qur'anic stories are stories that remind us of certain characteristics of ourselves, certain characteristics of human nature that we see throughout people and things that we will experience. So some of the things that He sent to us is that He reminds us in the Quran, He says that when we're assaulted by shaitan, we say, A'udhu to seek refuge with Allah, say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So when we're challenged with a thought, a negative thought, something that we know we shouldn't be doing, you know, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. It's a process you do, it will work. You know, astaghfirullah, another terminology that will help, Ya Allah. You know, when you need help, you know, rely on Allah, you know, give it over to Allah, you know. A lot of things that we're challenged with are difficulties and tests that Allah says that He tries us, okay? Constantly tries us, you know, and those tests are like, you hear the story of the Sisyphus rock, or the Jack and Jill story. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. You know, Jack fell down. You know, it's you keep going over to the same process over and over again. The Sisyphus rock is the story of pushing the rock up the hill and then getting halfway up there and then coming back down. You know, these are stories that are messages to tell us as human nature, things about human nature, but they had spooked us up, took us out there. They don't tell us stories to heal, you know, narratives to heal. You know, the Quran even has in it, you know, is just, the narratives, you know, the qasa, you know, the narration. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Surah 28. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hasimin. Tika ayatul kitabu nabun. Tasimin. These are verses of the book that make things clear. We rehearse to thee some of the stories of Moses and Pharaoh in truth for people who believe. Truly, Pharaoh elated himself in the land and divided his people into sections, depressing the group amongst them. Their sons he slew, but he kept alive their females, for he was indeed an evildoer. Can you see this happen today? Can you see some parallels today in our society, in our leadership? You see some of the same mentality, same thing. And here's another one. We wish to be gracious to those who were being depressed in the land, to make them leaders in faith and make them heirs. You know, those of us that are being oppressed in the land, God wishes us to become inheritors of that. His call is for us. He says, look, and we wish to be gracious to those who were being depressed in the land, to make them leaders in faith and make them heirs, to establish a firm place for them in the land, and to show Pharaoh, Haman, and their hosts what they were dreading from them. So we sent this inspiration to the mother of Moses. Suckle thy child, but when thou hast fears about him, cast him into the river, but fear not, nor grieve. We shall restore him to thee, and we shall make him one of our messengers. So now here we got the story of Musa. This is one of the first stories out of the narration. The story of Musa. And it is his mother that's getting the revelation, being inspired that Allah is saying, put this boy in the water. These people are being oppressed. Put this boy in the water. When we've seen this, we shared it before. You know, there's other stories in the Quran, another one about Yusuf, you know, winding up in the house of Pharaoh. But this is the story about Musa winding up in the house of Pharaoh. We see the parallel of our immigration coming in. People fleeing, their parents putting them in, coming over to America, coming over to the Western world, you know, for a better situation. You know, then there's us that came over here through, like Yusuf, that was thrown in the well through slavery, you know, but we both came through a ship. So these are stories for us to help to build ourselves as human beings. to establish ourselves firm and to recognize that Allah can send inspiration to people. And he sent to Musa mother, to women, so we cannot deny women. And then to the people of Pharaoh picked him up. Now Allah put an aura around him. You feel auras around baby, you feel auras around yourself. He had an aura around him. Love and receptive that Pharaoh's wife picked him up. And so he might be, I'm paraphrasing, he may be a good child. Maybe he brings us some good. So they did not proceed. We're taught that Allah, Satan plans, but Allah's best plan. Pharaoh them had a plan, but Allah had a better plan. And it took time within that plan. And then Moses' mother, Allah inspired her again. Look, put that child. Have your daughter go, spy. Okay, and then the daughter, once Moses didn't take suck on the other women's breast, her daughter came up. I know somebody. So the mother's heart was soothed again. So she had faith in Allah. She had trust in Allah. All of this was before he even got a revelation. Before he was even inspired to be a prophet. All this happened way before then. He was not been inspired yet. Then he goes on. So they take him and they raise him up. The next thing that we hear is that Musa come in. Here's part of the. Ayah says in 13 in narration. Thus did we restore him to his mother, that her eye might be comforted, that she might not grieve, and that she might know that the promise of Allah is true, but most of them do not know. When he reached full age and was firmly established in life, we bestowed on him wisdom and knowledge for those who do reward those who do good. And he entered into the city at a time when his people were not watching. He found there 2 men fighting, one of his own people, and the other of his enemy, of his foes. Now the man of his own people repelled him against his foe, and Moses struck him with his fist and killed him. He knocked him out. He said, this is the work of Satan, and he is an enemy and a manifestly misleads. Okay, so now he was challenged. Moses was challenged. Yo, man, help me out. And so what he did, he reacted emotionally. He knocked the dude out and killed him. Now he's a murderer. And so now the next day, same dude, that's causing problem. Moses said, man, you're the one that's causing the problem, man. But somebody else come running to him, man, yo, man, they getting ready to come kill you, man. They talking about your leadership, talking about you, Moses, man. You better scat. So out of fear, Moses scat. And he goes to the land of Medina, right? So now, and this is the guy that's a murderer, and I want to say this to y'all, may Allah have mercy on me, man. I will bring clarity to this comment, so hear it clearly. I'm tired of being a murderer. Every other day I wake up, want to go downstairs, get some coffee, do something. Man, I got thousands of little ants. And I kill them impulsively, and I'm tired of doing that. It irks my soul. It irks my nas to do that, But Allah shows, and I just want to say that example, but Allah shows it with Musa. He did a human being, but he showed him mercy and inspired him to become a prophet. So out of darkness comes light. So now he's on a journey. And now, he comes into a place where there's water. And the people are watering their cattle, the camels and everything, So there's some sisters over there, They're not watering them, they're holding them back. And Moses like, yo, man, what's up with this? Why are y'all doing this? So he go ask him, man, why y'all watering? He said, we can't. Our father's old, and the dudes aren't letting us, and I'm paraphrasing, the dudes aren't letting us water until after they water theirs. So Moses said, okay, man, I'll water them for y'all. So he go water them, man, out of kindness, out of his heart. Then he go sit back down and cry to Allah, Ya Allah, I'm in desperate need of your help. I'm in desperate need of your help. He didn't wait on doing something good. He did the good. Then asked Allah for help. These are things that we have to see. These are principles. Al-Islam is applied science. It's the faith that you have to apply it. You have to use it to apply it and to live it. Now, so Moses go back. He gets this. And then the women come. Then he ain't got no job, no money, no home, no nothing. But out of one act of kindness, man, he get a wife, he get a home, get a job, and get prophethood. He go live with some say Jethro, Shued, and amongst the Medina, And for some of us, they come from the Hagar tribe or the African, Hagaric people, Hamitic people, they're descendants of. And so he married amongst them. Now he was offered either 8 years or 10 years. Well, deal, when looking at his heart, he probably gave 10 years. And he was taught wisdom and knowledge, and then begins his journey. And Allah inspired him as he goes seek help for his family. He's loving his family, searching out for help for his family, and he sees a flame, sees a fly. He said, look, hold it. Check out this. I might bring back some food or some heat to keep y'all comfortable. But he got a little bit more than that. He got a God's inspiration, and God will inspire us in many things that we see and become a part of in our life. We just have to recognize him, believe in him, trust in him, have faith, and have mercy. Allah, peace us. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Oh, let our entry be by the gate of truth and honor, likewise our exit be by the gate of truth and honor. Grant us an authority from thee to aid us, O Lord. Surely we turn our self to thee, O Lord, trying to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, Lord, not the polytheists. Surely our prayers and our sacrifice, our life and our death will offer thee, O Lord, Lord of all the worlds. No associates thee, this we are commanded, we are those who submit. Thou the King, there's no God but thee, Muhammad, I say, so the messenger. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. May Allah peace us in faith, peace us in sin, peace us in gratitude. This component is community. And a couple of things that I'd just like to share with us. One, I apologize for the selfishness on my behalf, but I think it's a necessity. October is Islamic Heritage Month. It's been celebrated in D.C. for the last 12 years. It's been celebrated in Philadelphia. It's been celebrated in Canada. It's something that we're trying to stimulate people around the world, around the country, to understand, to celebrate our heritage as Muslims in America. And it's done in October. Some people say, why October? Well, October, in America, there's a couple of reasons. A couple of leadership, Muslim leaders, was born in October. You have Elijah Muhammad that was born in October. You have Imam Muhammad that was born in October. You have Imam Al-Amin that was born in October. You have the Prince of Manslave, Abdul Rahman, wrote one of his letters when he was freed in October 1828. And there's reports that we came here, Muslims came here before Columbus. And Columbus is a day, and October is a month that they sell Columbus. So we've been promoting celebration of October as Islamic Heritage Month. So we increase your friends, your relatives, your neighbors to learn something about our Islam, learn something about us as Muslims, as part of the American fabric. I just wanted to share a few things about the history of the Nation Islam experience under some of its leaders. Imam Elijah Muhammad, when he took over leadership, there was 3 temples in 1933. Detroit, Chicago, and Milwaukee. When he got arrested in 1942 in Washington, D.C., he said he had 9 temples, 9 places where they had worshiping. He did not have the numbers, but he had 9. One of the first ones was in Washington, D.C. And then when 1990, I don't have the 1950s, and that's going to be crucial to see how many that he grew from that 9 to the 1950s, 59, say 60. When we see that Malcolm came a dominant influence, a dominant voice. So what we see in 1990, 1960, by the end of 1965, they had 26 temples. So somewhere in between 1942 and 1965, you had that growth. And who gives that credit to him? Then from 1976 to 1974, I'm going to give them 75. It's a toss. In 1974, there was 75 temples. In 1974, 75 temples. And where I'm tossing at is that in 1975, there was that transition. Imam Muhammad took over the leadership versus Farrakhan in his leadership. So, but if you see, from 1966, there was 41 temples. In 1974, there was 75. So what you had, a growth of 34 temples that was developed. under his influence, under his leadership. From 1975, or if we give them to 1975, there was 81. In 1975, there was 81. From 1975 to 1982, it grew to 208 under Imam Muhammad's leadership. You had 127 masters or temples that grew from here. So you see the different influences that different leadership, or what they would say national representatives, had during that period of that time. And we played a very pivotal, crucial influence on many people in the world and around in society. We see people coming around the world loving Muhammad Ali. You hear it today. You know, when they talk about the athletes and the kneeling on the knee, who's the example? Who's the model they use? Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is the reference, is the model that they use, because Elijah Muhammad gave them the values and principles to stand up. There's no God but Allah. Allah is Akbar. Allah is greater. So he stood upon these values and principles. And then you had, after that, in 68, you had them brothers stand up at the Olympics with their hand. But it was all of them stimulated and modeled after Muhammad Ali. You know, you have, even before, they used to call us Muslims. Muslims, when they come in our community, we help them come with the terminology Muslim. You know, you had them come with the terminology mosque. Mosque is a French word that means mosquito. Imam Muhammad gave us an understanding, you should say masjid or masajid. You know, this is a place where you bow, you make sajda, and that's what the Quran said. There's other positive influence that we had. Even if you look at some of the early Islamic Sunni Muslims or Orthodox Muslims, they modeled some of their examples of the Nation of Islam. Like on the back of their paper, they had their principles as the Nation of Islam had theirs, but theirs was more Islamic. They did try to create jobs in the cities and in the communities. So there were many models that we have established and set. There's many contributions that we've done. That stamp, that self-adhesive stamp that has no glue on it. It was a Muslim from Somalia that created that. There's a lot of other little things that we've done and played many contributions in our society. It was a Muslim that founded the town Arizona, or this town states, Arizona and New Mexico. There's a town called Muhammad, Illinois. There's a town called Muhammad, Texas. You know, really, we've been a part of American fabric. You know, but they try to whitewash our story. We have to tell our story. And one of the doors that Allah shows us to be able to tell our story is through the Quran and just narratives. And I'm sorry I didn't read some of the narratives that we talked about Shuay. Those that are being challenged with the water, the sharing the water with the cattle. You know, Allah said that we have to share wealth. We have to share what He provides. You know, and spread it. You had the story of the Lut, those that are practicing the lust on men. You know, and vice versa. And we see that today in our society prevalent. We have the story of Yusuf, and in these stories, there's shades. They're like onions. There's layers within these stories. There's not one side of a story. Allah says in the Quran, there's many paths. So in some of these stories, you got the story of Yusuf. You got Yusuf and being enslaved. Yusuf having visions. Yusuf having inner discipline. Yusuf having patience. You know, there's so many aspects of Yusuf. And same thing with Musa. You know, you have many different stories of Musa. You know, having fear, being blessed and being inspired, giving law, giving structure. You have the story of Noah and having trust in Allah. You know, he's the first one to build a boat, big ship. You know, it might have been a little boat on a little wood, but he was the first one that we can read about in history and document that he built a boat and a ship, and they criticized him. What you doing, man? This is after he preached to them. He'd been there, they said Allah said 1,000 years less 50. That's 950 years. That his thought, his system existed, and they challenged it. But he had faith in Allah, and he built the ship. And they laughed at him. But when that flood came, and we seen the flood, when that flood came, they rose up and then they would ride on it, trusting in Allah, having faith in Allah. And Allah sent signs that, no, he wasn't here to destroy the whole life. He wasn't. He didn't get everything on it. It's the principles. Allah said He made us dualism, positive and negative. Animal nature, bring your natural self. Save your natural self, your natural instincts that He brings within you, that dualistic nature that's there with you. Bring it upon that ship, build that ark with love, faith, good deeds, good actions. Trust in your Lord. This is what they all represented. They trust in what they could not see. We say we believe. Believe in the unseen. You have to believe in what Allah has given you. If He's inspired you with something, some type of skills, driving, doctoring, nursing, engineer, mayor, lawyer, judge, whatever He's giving you, author, painter, whatever He's giving you, go for it. Get involved, get engaged. It is our day. He said it's for us to inherit. Did not Musa's people inherit what Pharaoh and them left? Huh? Do y'all not believe this is it? You don't watch that TV? You don't watch that guy up there? Know that. Allah is real. This is real. This world's life is nothing but an illusion. Look, they were under the days of Suleiman. Wasn't them jinns still working for them? It was still working. Things was still kicking. Things was still going on. So they started seeing it crumbling. I said, Dad, I wouldn't work for to maintain it if I knew it was falling. Brothers and sisters, our society is morally done. We're walking dead. We're walking zombies. Look at what they promote. Read the Quran. We see this guidance, man. And then the Lord come within that guidance, man. He gives us the antidote or that medicine, man, to keep a soft heart, to keep a kind heart. He said, you can't get everybody. You're not going to get everybody. Don't even sweat it. I'm in charge. I got it. Those are my servants. They're different paths. Don't get choked up about it. What I give them, man. He reminds us again of the Quran, man. And I'm sorry I don't have the ayah, I don't have the, I can read ayah right there, right in front of me. But he said, look, even the things that I give them, the big cars, the big homes, the Mercedes, all this, the Jaguars, all this, the fine things, he said, don't get an illusion about that. They're going to forget me. The final journey for us all, as we believe, is to Allah. May Allah increase our faith, increase our trust in Him, and what He's given us. Use it. Our relationship, the biggest thing about being Muslim is we have a personal relationship with Allah. You have a personal relationship with Allah. Allah said He's closer to us than our jugular vein, right? That's what we was taught. So He's that close. He knows my thoughts before I even think my thought. Establish your relationship. Talk to Him. Ask Him to help Him. Trust Him. You know, in history, and let me close, is that was looking at Harriet Tubman on the Eastern Shore. And some of the things that they talked about her is that she was a believer. She was a believer. She believed in God. She moved in faith and by inspiration. Whatever He inspired her, she moved by that. She trusted faith in that. She didn't say Jesus, she said God. Her relationship was there. And we see this amongst different people. It's our time, man. It is our day. Out of darkness come light. Out of light comes darkness. Rise up. Oh, you Muslims, then we hear, hey Allah Salat, hey Allah Salat, hey Allah Fahad, hey Allah Fahad. Right? Hurry to prayer. Hurry to what? Success. This is our day. Come to success. This is our day. Come alive. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Qad qamatis salah, qad qamatis salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن عينك فصل لربك وانهار شانئك وابتر. الله أكبر. سمي الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الحمد لله.
Invite people next Saturday, Daisy.
Excited to see you. Just excited to see you. Always, always, man. Allah bless you.
Bless us.
Yes.
Things good.
Assalamualaikum. How you be? Good?
Next Saturday, man, we're having a program, Day of Dignity. Hot meals, food, school supplies, light entertainment, everything.
Nice.
Man, come down by the museum.
I mean, it's always nice.
Senegal or not? Guinea or what?
Yeah, it's Guinea.
Guinea? Guinea. What part of Guinea?
Yeah.
What part of Guinea? Conakry? Okay. And Conakry is part of what? Fututor or Futujar?
Oh, it's not that. It's not in the
So what is it? Futujar or Fututor?
Yeah, it's
Well, the food is the mountain.
yeah.
But I thought there was two. One was Fututor and one was Futujar.
Exactly.
Futujar.
That's true.
One is the language, the other one is the mouth. But the people come from the
One is language, one is language. I thought there was two.
Mount Futa.
Fulani.
Yeah. But you from Guinea? I've been to Guinea. Labe. I've been to. Come on. I've been there. I've been there. Oh man, all down through there. I drove from Dakar up north. The big track.
I was in Senegal too before. Came here last year.
I didn't put in, well, put in the edit.
Dakar.
So some of us go something. That's so interesting to say. All right?
Super Bobo.
That's all I can do.
That was my family.
She's here for,
A wife from Senegal. Jackson. I'm a Jackson.
workshop.
It's not my
Well, like, yeah, in a different way.
Because my parents are from Guinea. So we've been to
That's good. They bring you together for everything.
I'm sure not. Assalamualaikum. You said what, sir?
all them places. All the roads.
I see you know that.
Boy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's Conakry.
Yeah.
Speak everything.
All the way to Conakry. He like, you know.
Land that thing, you know.
That's easier.
Hey, man, Ibrahim.
Okay, Uma.
Umar. Yeah. All right, Sheikh, how you been? Y'all getting cleaned out, look like that.
Yeah, man.
No more. Yeah. All that history, you gotta pack it up.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
All right,
See you next time.
He got a little museum.
Yeah.
He got a little museum in here, corner, you know. Yeah, bring it over there. Yeah, I gotta talk to him about helping him get the rest of his stuff, the storage. Something he got. Yeah. All right, then. I just got back from California. I was out there for 8 days. I had a ball, and I'm running, working all through the time.